The invasion didn't come with the sound of explosions, it came with the speed of light. The Luminaries, as they called themselves, were a civilization that had mastered the photon. They didn't use kinetic slugs or clumsy missiles. They used particle beams, concentrated solar lances, and high-frequency lasers that traveled at 300,000 kilometers per second. You didn't hear their weapons fire, you simply saw a flash and then you were gone, vaporized into a cloud of ionized atoms. They turned our cities into molten glass in a matter of hours. Our tanks were just metal ovens for the crews inside. Our jet fighters were swatted out of the sky before they could even lock a target. The Luminaries viewed the universe through the lens of optics, and they saw humanity as a dark, light-absorbing blemish that needed to be brightened into extinction. They thought we had no defense against the speed of light. They thought traditional armor was a joke. And they were right. Traditional armor is a joke when you're fighting a sun. So we stopped trying to absorb the hit. We started sending it back. We created the 4th Light Regiment. The Mirror Knights. We don't wear camouflage. We don't hide in the shadows. We wear Spectre Chrome, a nano-ceramic composite layered with hyper-polished silver and synthetic diamond. Every inch of our power armor is a perfect, liquid mirror. We are the most visible soldiers in human history, and that is exactly the point. To a luminary we aren't targets. We are an optical impossibility. Their weapons rely on absorption and thermal transfer. If the light doesn't stay on the surface, it can't kill. We are the Prism-Guard, and we are about to show the luminaries that the light is our weapon now. I am Commander Leo Thorne. My armor is polished to a 0.001 micron finish. And I've never looked better. The battle for Neo Dubai was a kaleidoscopic nightmare of violence. The city, once a jewel of the desert, was being dismantled by a trio of obelisk-class walkers, 300-foot tripods with multi-lens eyes that could track and incinerate 1,000 targets simultaneously. The sky was a crisscross of violet and crimson beams, each one hot enough to boil a lake. Prism-Guard, deploy. Shine bright, boys. I roared into the haptic link. We dropped from the high-altitude stealth carriers, falling like chrome meteors through the laser-choked sky. I didn't fire a thruster until I was 50 meters from the penthouse of the Almira Tower. I hit the roof with a metallic thud, my mag boots locking onto the steel. Immediately, a Lightstalker Walker, a smaller, predatory machine with 4 lens arms, spotted me. It didn't hesitate. It fired a concentrated blue particle beam directly at my chest. I didn't dodge. I leaned into it. The beam hit my Aegis reflector shield. The shield didn't heat up, it didn't even vibrate. The nano-ceramic surface caught the blue light and, thanks to the internal diffraction grids, refracted it. I tilted the shield 30 degrees to the left. The blue beam, now reinforced by the shield's own focal lenses, shot back across the street, slicing through the Lightstalker's primary lens array. The machine shrieked, a high-frequency electronic scream, as its own weapon turned its internal sensors into slag. It tumbled from its perch, crashing into the street below. Mirror 2, Sarah. I've got 2 of them targeting me. I'm forming a focal point. Mirror 3, Jax. I see you, Sarah. Locking in. I watched as Sarah and Jax stood back to back on a bridge. 3 obelisk beams converged on them, a massive amount of energy that should have leveled a city block. But the 2 Mirror Knights moved with the precision of a Swiss watch. They angled their shoulder plates and shields, catching the enemy beams and bouncing them between each other, building the intensity of the light within the reflective well of their formation. With a synchronized shout, they released the energy. A single, blinding white lance of light erupted from the pair, punching a hole clean through the center of an obelisk walker 2 kilometers away. The machine exploded in a spectacular sphere of molten gold and white fire. Keep moving. Don't let the dust settle. I commanded. That was our only weakness, dirt. If our armor got covered in soot, oil, or blood, it lost its reflectivity. We became absorbers. And absorbers died. I sprinted across the side of a glass building, my boots gripping the vertical surface. A squadron of luminary flicker drones, fast, light-based entities, swarmed around me, firing rapid pulse lasers. The air was a strobe light of death. I drew my sun saber, a hilt that contained no blade, only a series of high-density mirrors. As the drones fired, I caught their pulses with the hilt's guard and redirected the energy into the saber's core. A blade of pure, redirected luminary light ignited. I wasn't using my own power, I was using theirs. I swung the saber, a trail of redirected violet light felling the drones like wheat. Each strike wasn't a cut, it was a thermal amputation. The prime obelisk is charging its solar scythe. Sarah's voice crackled, filled with static. I looked toward the center of the city. The largest walker had opened its massive central lens eye. It was drawing energy from the sun itself, focusing it through a series of internal crystals. It was preparing a beam that wouldn't just kill a squad, it would erase the entire district. Prism-Guard. Phalanx formation at the plaza. We're going to give it back. We converged on the central plaza, 12 mirror knights in total. We stood in a wide circle, locking our shields together. We didn't look like an army, we looked like a giant, chrome satellite dish pointed at the sky. Hold. Now. The solar scythe fired. It was a beam of pure white light, 50 feet wide, descending from the sky like the finger of a god. It hit our phalanx with the force of a tectonic shift. I felt the pressure in my boots as the ground beneath the plaza began to crack. My armor's cooling system screamed, the internal temperature rising as the mirrors worked at 99.9% efficiency. The 0.1% of heat that leaked through was still enough to make my skin blister. Focus the core. I roared, my vision white with the glare. We adjusted our shields by fractions of a millimeter. We funneled the massive, solar-scale energy of the scythe into the center of our circle, where a tripod-mounted grand prism waited. The energy hit the prism and was focused into a needle-thin line of infinite heat. The redirected beam shot straight up, following the path of the solar scythe back to its source. It punched through the prime obelisk central lens, traveled up the leg assembly, and hit the walker's primary antimatter core. The explosion was silent for a heartbeat, and then the world went white. The shockwave blew the windows out of every building for 10 miles. The prime obelisk disintegrated, turned into a rain of glowing glass and molten silver. The remaining invasion fleet, seeing their god machine destroyed by its own light, turned their ships and fled back into the void. They realized that the dark planet was actually a mirror, and they were the only things in danger of being blinded. The light faded. The strobe war was over. I stood in the center of the plaza, my armor dull and scorched, the mirrors pitted by the extreme heat. I pulled off my helmet and took a breath of the ozone-heavy air. The city was a wreck, but it was standing. The sun was setting over the desert, and for once, the light was just light. It wasn't a weapon anymore. Humanity has proven the ultimate truth of the Iron Siege. You can bring the speed of light. You can fire the power of the sun. You can try to vaporize us from orbit. But we are the species that knows how to reflect. We will take your brilliance, we will polish it, and we will send it back until you are nothing but shadows. We are the Mirror Knights. We are the Prism-Guard. And we are the only thing you'll never see coming. The walkers are slag. The sky is ours. Neo Dubai is clear. The mission is over. Now, someone get me a polishing cloth. I've got a scratch on my shoulder.